What is up, rebel colonists and Mars citizens? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are continuing our journey through Volume 2 of Frozen Teardrop. Last time, Trace was able to outsmart Artemis and put the Sagittarius in a pincer. Also, if you were wondering why there is no Sagittarius in the Gundam Wing naming convention, well, here it is. The rebels' forces dwindled. Also, before the battle, we got cringe conversations between 10-year-old Zechs and Noin. This time, Artemis is broken out of prison by Odin Low. Zechs and Elve disappeared during a mission, and the construction of the Bulge is complete. So let's get into this. 3 factors contributed to the anti-alliance forces' defeat. First off, Artemis's psychological state was affected by Trace's ability once the battle began. She started making decisions and then changing her mind last minute. Because of this, she was premature on the beam cannon. Second was the performance difference between the Chimeras and the Griefs. The Griefs' performance was better, but Artemis had more numbers. She could have won if she moved in fast and swiftly, but she dragged the fight out, giving Trace an advantage. And third was the tactical strategy to circle around the moon. Most of the damage was done with Artemis's psychological crash out mid-battle, but the final factor solidified the win. The Alliance handled the aftermath while Trace and his men went back to the L1 colony cluster. He meets with his brother Vont. He is happy, but Trace thinks this is a victory because the plant was destroyed. Trace also reflects on the losses of his enemies. The two brothers plan on seeing their mother while at L1. Trace made a visit already and doesn't have it in him to tell his brother that she ain't doing too well. He will just have to see for himself. He suggests that Vont see his father as well, even though his brother doesn't want to. As Trace has never met his father, Hido, he suggests that he see him regardless of his feelings. Their visit to their father is short. Trace is cordial, but Vont is passive-aggressive. They then visit their mother, Angelina. Vont discusses the rumors of mobile suits being developed with Gundanium alloy by colony scientists. They're looking into it, but Trace suggests they make working conditions on the lunar surface better. Vont is working on affordable housing at L1 and L2 with shuttles running to and from the moon. Both Vont and Trace have different approaches, but they are both doing it in the name of preventing another Hido assassination. Their mother's words when younger transformed into idealism to fit the two individuals' needs. They go to visit their mother where a nurse is giving her a sponge bath. Vont is slowly becoming paranoid at everything and everyone, and punches the nurses because he thinks he's doing a bad touch. Trace has to calm him down before they talk to their mother. When she sees her, Angelina tells Trace, like she always does, that he will end conflict and be the one to save everyone. But she doesn't acknowledge Vont. She doesn't seem to remember him as her health slowly devolves, which is sad because Vont has more love for their mother than he does. This moment broke Vont. Though he continued supporting his brother, he started to become delirious. He exerts what little power he has in the moment by forcing the hospital to provide female-only staff and threatens the hospital director's job. Also in L1 is Odin Low, working for the Barton Foundation, who is hired to help Artemis and the anti-alliance forces. Aoi Clark is spying, serving under Vont to secure blueprints of this new Gundanium alloy mobile suit codenamed the Gundam. A third party is also crossing paths at L1. It is Seace Clark and his son, who he believes is destined to take the codename Hido. So because Aoi is undercover as Seace's wife, Hido is technically undercover as his son. They don't specify, and the wiki refers to him as Hido's stepfather. But I'm pretty sure Aoi is lying to Seace and just claimed it was his kid. Also, Hido is a 6-year-old spy. This psycho was bred for this lifestyle. But what I also didn't realize is that it makes Hido and Tronc Clark related. It makes sense he was somewhat able to pilot Wing Zero before the Zero system made him mad. MC 0022, next winter. Master Chang has images of Relina on his monitor. He wonders if Hido will be able to kill her. She is going by the Peacecraft name once again. Relina is the Preventor's target. Hido understands. He once again is ready to kill Relina. Oh boy, here we go again. One thing to note is that their group is never a military, despite them being military trained and using military vocabulary. They achieve this through sheer will. The book then goes into an elaborate and pathetic attempt to justify him killing again after proclaiming to never kill again. They insult you, the audience, with this quote. The very contradiction illuminates both his thoughtful humanity and the raw wounds of his heart. Fuck you, Katsuyuki Samizawa, writer of these novels. Just own up to the fact that you want to make a sequel. Stop with this justification. Kathy Poe is starting to realize how this Hido and Trace are intertwined. AC 186. Autumn. The same place that once held Ain Yui now holds Artemis and other anti-alliance forces. Low begins his precision infiltration. He is under disguise as a guard. He placed explosives around the power stations. In space, a power outage is a survival threat. The explosions go off. This makes the facility think that it is an anti-alliance attack. A space shuttle approaches from the spaceport, but it is dismissed as routine civilian traffic. It was in fact Odin's escape. Once power was regained, it was brushed off as nothing and overlooked. This was Kant piloting the shuttle and picking up Odin, Artemis, and other anti-alliance forces. The final explosion causes another blackout where they make their escape. Meanwhile, Zechs and Elve Onegell are on a mission to deliver 25 griefs to the nearly finished fortress, the Bulge. After this mission, they will most likely be getting new units, so this would be the last chance for them to use the griefs. This is the first time Zechs and Elve had a chance to connect with one another. In this interaction, it is clear that Elve knows Zechs is a peacecraft. He knows because his father fought the peacecrafts. Zechs wonders if he told his father, General Hido Onegell. He says that he doesn't betray his comrades. Despite their camaraderie, there is still some unresolved conflict from their past. This is resolved when Zechs puts a bullet in his father's head in the original series. Elve jokes about him reclaiming the peacecraft name. Zechs laughs and says that will never happen. Ha ha! Cut to the scene where Zechs burns down the peacecraft mansion. Seace also worked on designs for the Bulge, but once he focused on the Leo, he passed it off to someone else. He complains to his son and wife about them taking the Leo and the Bulge away from him. Hido is holding a toy Leo, and out of insecurity, Seace grabs it and throws it. He says the Leo isn't a toy. Hido just gives him a cold look, like, I'm a psychopath. I will kill you one day. Seace communicates with Deakin Barton at the L3 colony cluster. We learn that he is the one who made modifications to Kant's shuttle he used to save Artemis and the rebels. He wants him to shoot down a transport heading towards the Bulge. He outsources these orders to Kant, who is in the vicinity. His shuttle approaches the two specials. Artemis pretends that she is hijacking the shuttle. She puts a gun to Kant's head. A Leo 3 emerges and points a bazooka at the boys. They make it a point to let you know that the self-destruct mechanism wasn't a thing during this time. They have to justify why they don't just blow themselves up. That's the Gundam Wing solution to problems. Zechs' impulse is to fight, but Elve says, leave it to me. The space fortress never did receive its 25 griefs, and Zechs and Elve disappeared. They were declared MIA. The loss of some of the specials, the escape of Artemis, and the loss of the Marius plant marked the failures for the Earth Alliance and what will be called the First Lunar War. This was Trace's first stain on his immaculate record, so naturally Vont scrubbed it out of existence. From that moment on until AC-188, Trace and his specials will be officially off the record. Their actions were attributed to the Alliance Space Forces. Major Septim participated in helping change history, and he gains the ranks to Brigadier General 2 years later, where he will live 9 years freely without a bullet in his head. He was considered quite incompetent by others in his ranks. Trace is inquiring about Marshal Catalonia with regards to his missing cadets. He is taking personal responsibility for their investigation. AC-186, October 26. In AC-133, the Alliance tries to create the ideal global hegemony under Western values. But of course, Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and South America resisted this. This is one of the many reasons for mass exodus to the colonies during this time. In the present, the illusion of the Alliance's attempt at peace while fueling the military-industrial complex has never been so apparent. Under the ideals of Hido, the colonists wanted to embrace pacifist demilitarization. The Bulge represents Earth's aggressive projection of power or space's unnecessary burden, depending on one's perspective. This answers the question of if the name is Bulge or Barge. I always called it Barge because there would be no way someone would name something after the bump my dick makes in my jeans, right? Right? Wrong! I guess it's my fault for not being in the Japanese mindset. From AC-174 to AC-186, the Alliance tried to get the colonies to shoulder costs. This would in turn prevent the colonists from funding their own military. Well, that kind of failed. Oh right, they're technically not a military. We just talked about that. One colony at the L2 cluster, VO8-744, felt this burden the most. And this colony is a young duo Maxwell, who will become a warrior born out of the colony's desperation. Seace is given an invitation to the Bulge's opening ceremony, where he is credited as a contributor. This infuriated Seace. He decides not to attend the ceremony. Aoi and her son attend the event while Seace's depression grows with his isolation. Aoi, being a spy, knows he has succumbed to helping the anti-alliance forces. She is actually sympathetic to his needs. As Hido gives her an origami crane, she decides in that moment to give it all up and live a life as a wife and mother. The Bulge was a celebration of engineering marvels. Seace has been a whiny bitch about not getting the recognition he deserved, but his complaining isn't without reason. Seace will be forgotten in the history books, but his work goes on to stand the test of time. However, his own stepson, Hido, would put his engineering to the test, as Hido is pretty much the best pilot in this universe. He put the Leo through many tests throughout this series, and it did indeed prove its worth. And that will do it for this episode. The Alliance is learning that you can't implement hegemony at scale without seeing resistance. We also understand Master Chang's clan and many like him in the colonies, as anything that isn't Western ideology was literally pushed off Earth. Next time we will conclude Volume 2 of Gundam Wing Frozen Teardrop. Hido will meet Vont, Aoi will leave Odin, and the assassin teaches Hido to become a murderer. That will do it for now, new types. Remember, don't be afraid of sponge baths. Peace.